Hi there, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today's subject, how to hit your driver farther. Who doesn't want that? We'll talk specifically in terms of how to create torque or resistance between upper and lower body. Creates a lot of power, show you how, show you at which point in the swing you should have the most resistance, and just generally map this thing out for you a bit. Couple of drills at the end that I know will help you. Briefly, if you're new to this channel, would love it if you'd subscribe, hit the bell there as well. You'll be notified every time a brand new instructional video is coming your way. Next time you're at the App Store, Scratch Golf Academy, we have a wonderful free app, training aids, tempo trainers, warm-up exercises. It's free to you. I think you'd enjoy it. Hope you'll pick that up. Okay, we'll look at the pros in just a second here, but if I use a towel as an analogy, as I like to, remember the hips, short, quick movements are what really produce energy down the chain, not long, slow, sustained movements. Let's have a look at the pros. Adam Scott on the left, Fred Couples on the right. There's two pretty good ones. Okay, here's the big key. As the club is still finishing going back, the hips begin to bump towards the target as well as unwind a little bit. You see that move there? And that's what creates the torque, because if the club's still moving back when your hips start this bump, the club holds those shoulders in place momentarily. We'll see that more in the drill towards the end of the video. Let's look at Fred. Look at the gap between his hip and that tree. There it is. And if you can get that two-way, you really create the look. And the most torque, the most difference between upper and lower body is to be found, should be found, shortly into the start of the downswing, not at the top of the backswing. That's where there's the biggest differential, like so. And once the hips have done that, once they've made that move, they've largely done their function. They'll still move after that, but from then they're beginning to stabilize so energy can go back up the chain out to the club head. Of course, not everybody's built the same, so you have to figure out for yourself, what's the right mixture for you? How much resistance do you need in your backswing so that you do create torque, but unless you're super explosive, unless you're lightning quick, you are going to need some length in your backswing. So get away from the ball, get away from the golf course, do some backswings till you feel like, hey, I've moved my arms a long way from the ball, but I'm feeling some resistance. Now, even once you've mapped that out, not every great player has just the same pattern of loading it or creating that resistance. Let's look at a few contrasts. I think you'll find these interesting. Then we'll get out and check out our drills. Tony Finau on the left, Payne Stewart there in regular trousers on the right. So look at Tony Finau. That is a lot of resistance. He's already pushing into the ground with his lower body, and that's about as much as he's going to be able to take it back, but he's so explosive, he can just rip out there and hit it a mile. Jon Rahm's similar sort of a look, but if we look at, say, Payne Stewart, watch his lower body and his knees. There's just, look at his middle of his sort of belt buckle area. Way more movement. That's just his preference, so he creates a lot less resistance or differential between upper and lower going back, but creates it more in the downswing. So you can see how much hip movement he has there. So it's just his athletic preference, a little bit longer swing. Let's have a look at Sam Snead. This is when he's younger here. Again, lots of lower body movement. He's super flexible too, so he could have had a lot less movement in his knees and hips, but he preferred that flow, less torque in his backswing, tightens the notch coming down and really finds it there. And shall we say Ben Hogan, always worth a look? I'd say somewhere in the middle. Pretty decent amount of hip movement, but relatively good torque, and certainly, of course, great two-way motion there, loads it there. So you've got to find your own pattern that gives you enough power and athletically suits you. Okay, first thing I want you to do, you can use a golf bag, which is what I'm going to use, door handle, door jamb or whatnot, but do you have the ability easily to separate one segment from the other? Certainly some of it's flexibility, but in many, many cases, it's just lack of neurological control over that, lack of coordination in that area. People have been sitting at a desk for 50 years, 30 years, whatever, they don't do it so well. So grab something that will hold your arms and shoulders in one position and bump at it like that, and try to create some separation between the one and the other. I played a great deal of soccer when I was young, football as we call it over there because I grew up in England, and in that game you're routinely moving things around and changing these positions. So when I started junior golf, honestly I didn't find that super hard. Next thing we want you to do, and you could probably practice this with an iron, This would be number 2 drill, but the next thing, we'll go with the driver here for just a second, and that is on less than a full backswing, I want you to create as much sharpness of angle, sharpness of pull between your hips and your upper body as you can. Start to feel that snap. Not saying you want to be quite that jerky when you actually hit it, but dial it up a little bit. So let's try one here. I really feel that snap. Again, I'm initiating with a very small movement. A little jerky, but I could really feel the difference, then smooth it out. And I am going to tell you, the lag shot, I know you've seen me if you've watched my videos use this a little bit, has extra weight and a lot of extra flex. So helpful for working on this because the club literally cannot be jerked down. The weight of that club head keeps going, and it is a great way to create feel. Work on these drills, get yourself a lag shot. We've got a discount link below. It'll really help your game, I'm telling you. It's a great investment in your game. Work these 2 drills, build the coordination, build it on a small jerky scale, then add some size, smooth it back out, keep at it a little bit. Lots of practice swings away from the golf course. You'll pretty soon start to develop the sort of separation you need, and you will hit the ball farther.